Today we are joined by Mr. Suresh Krishnan, Managing Director and CEO of Paradeep Phosphates Ltd, the market leader that has kick-started the current financial year on a high note with remarkable Q1 results. We'll dive into what's driving this growth, expansion plans, operational strategies and how it is tackling the current market challenges amid the volatile global market. Thank you for joining with PTI.
Thank you.
Mr. Krishnan, monsoon has been good this year. How have fertilizer sales been so far this current fiscal?
Fertilizer sales have really picked up in the early part of the season itself. We are seeing a robust growth right at the retail level and also at the farmer level. We believe this trend is likely to continue given the fact that the water availability right across our marketing area have been quite good.
Last year, your company's turnover was 14,000 crore. What kind of growth do you expect in turnover in the current financial year?
Well, if you look at last year, we did close to about 2.6 million tons of sale. And we are expecting that this year our sales will be close to 3 million tons. And this growth is largely supported by better capacity utilization at our factories and also some traded volumes that we are bringing in.
What are your expansion plans? Are you building the new plants or increasing the capacity of the existing ones?
Ma'am, it's like this. If you look at the industry today, the overall NPK industry is close to about 20 to 21 million tons. And at this point of time, we're doing 2.6 million tons in terms of our own manufactured fertilizer. Our intent here is from the current 12.5% market share, we are looking at doubling ourselves to about 25% market share. To do this, there are two things that we will need to do. We'll have to enhance our granulation capacity and we'll also have to do far better in the backward integration. So our strategy right through here has been that we will ensure that the backward integration story works well for us, which actually kicks in the right amount of capital that is required for the growth in the granulation end. So we are quite confident that over the next 3 years, our granulation capacities at both west coast and east coast of India will increase by over 1 million ton, and our backward integration, which is largely out of the east coast, will also enhance by about 40% from the current levels. We currently have about 500,000 tons of P2O5, which is the phosphoric acid that we manufacture. We are expecting this capacity to reach over 700,000 tons. This project has already been announced and we are quite confident that in the year 2026 end, we will have this capacity that will come to us. And the second important thing that we are doing at this point of time is amalgamating MCFL into Paradeep Phosphate. We expect that this transaction should close out in the third quarter of this financial year. This will not only give us 7 lakh tons of additional capacity, we also plan to expand in Mangalore by over 600,000 tons of a new plant that we plan to build there. This will be a phosphatic fertilizer plant. So this capacity will also come up. With this, the current 2.6 million tons that we have of phosphatic will eventually reach to about 3.7 million tons. Just to give you a granular details of this, 1.8 million tons is what we have at Paradeep. We have close to 0.8 million tons in Goa. That takes us to 2.6 million tons of phosphatic manufacturing. There is 0.3 million tons of phosphatic manufacturing existing at Mangalore today. That takes us to 2.9 and we'll expand capacity to take it to 3.6. On top of this, ma'am, we also have urea capacity between the two locations. We have close to about 9 lakh tons of urea. So this will be our initial opening position as we get into 2026.
How will the company invest in expansion? How will you finance the investment?
Ma'am, the current investment levels that we are looking at will be upwards of 1,500 crores for both granulation and phosphatic that we are looking at. But post this particular phase, the next phase will be about a similar number when we increase our granulation capacity in the east coast of India, which is at Paradeep.
Mr. Krishnan, given the recent significant challenges and shifts in the global phosphatic fertilizer market, including the decline in imports from China and India's efforts to diversify its supply sources, how is Paradeep Phosphates positioning itself to ensure supply security and support India's agricultural needs?
Well, this is a very important subject that people need to understand, that India today, against the requirement of 20 million tons of phosphoric fertilizer, has a manufacturing capacity of only 14 million tons. So a minimum of 6 to 7 million tons gets imported in India, and of which we used to get from eastern side, which is largely China, close to about 2 million tons of DAP. The balance used to come from Middle East, North Africa and Russia. This 2 million tons certainly has been a challenge for the sector in terms of sourcing, but I must say that both Morocco and Saudi have stepped up the quantity of fertilizer being made available to India. So they have come in to a large extent to fill up this particular gap is concerned. Coming to Paradeep Phosphate, I think what we are doing is, of the 6 million ton that we are importing, we believe that India's own production for this Atmanirbhar strategy that the government of India has needs to really create more capacities. Given this, we are already setting up larger facilities both in the west coast and east coast. So we believe in the next 2 to 3 years, India's capacity from Paradeep Phosphate will significantly reduce the import dependence.
Despite the strong backward integration, Paradeep still imports some of the raw materials like phosphatic rock and ammonium. What challenges do you face in managing the import dependency?
Ma'am, phosphatic fertilizer, when you look at it today, most of the companies in India make phosphatic fertilizer based on phosphoric acid being imported. When we talk about backward integration, it is our ability to make phosphoric acid. And as you rightly said, for making phosphoric acid, we have to import rock phosphate. Today, we have 500,000 tons of annual capacity of phosphoric acid at Paradeep in eastern part of the country. To manufacture that, we need close to 1.6 million tons of rock phosphate. And the good thing is this entire 1.6 million ton is available to us on a long-term basis with OCP in Morocco. OCP Morocco primarily controls over 70% of the known rock reserves in the world. So they are a solid partner for us, both on an equity end and also as a strategic partner for our manufacturing. So this is how we look at phosphoric acid. But along with rock phosphate, to make phosphoric acid, you also need sulfur, because phosphate rock and sulfuric acid react to make phosphoric acid. When it comes to sulfur, we at this point of time need about 400,000 tons of sulfur annually. We are expanding our sulfuric acid capacity from 1.3 million tons to 2 million tons annually. That expansion should be completed in the next 3 months. So this is a very important expansion that we are doing. Our requirement of sulfur comes from Middle East, which you know that there are a lot of refineries in the Middle East which export the sulfur. And secondly, we also get sulfur from Indian refiners. And IOC is a next door refiner for us, and we are able to get quite a good quantity coming in from there. So you are right that we have an import dependence, but the import dependence is fully covered by very strong contracts that we have on a long-term basis, which is what is the differentiator as far as our company is concerned.
Could you share how many countries Paradeep Phosphate currently has long-term supply agreements with, and are there any plans to explore partnership with new countries in the near future?
Well, largely speaking, our rock is coming from Morocco, which is a long-term arrangement of 1.6 million tons. And in terms of the other raw materials that we have, whether it is ammonia or sulfur, we do go to the other countries in the Middle East, which includes Saudi Arabia, which includes to some extent the UAE, which directly or indirectly which gets into India, and also Qatar. But when it comes to sourcing, I think the larger dependence for the sector is primarily from these countries, and Russia also being there for finished goods in a big way. And we believe that we'll get our relationship going deeper in these countries and try to get more quantities as we require. As far as rock phosphate is concerned, I can very confidently say that we have the necessary tie-ups available in Morocco. So our incremental requirement of rock phosphate will certainly come from Morocco. But when it comes to ammonia and sulfur, we are in discussion with the Middle Eastern parties, and I'm quite confident that some of those relationships will mature itself for major long-term supplies.
With the rising input costs and geopolitical uncertainties in the current year, how is Paradeep Phosphate managing these challenges to ensure stable production and pricing?
Ma'am, we have a good attractive commercial terms when it comes to long-term arrangement for rock. And so that is the first big positive that we have. And all our raw materials that we source today, the way we have structured our pricing formula, they are able to have a linkage to the global market. So we always are in a position to manage to get the right kind of pricing which is there. So which is a big positive that we get to see.
How effective is the government's nutrient-based subsidy scheme in stabilizing the prices of phosphatic fertilizers?
Ma'am, the NBA scheme which was introduced good 15 years back, I think has been one of the most positive policy initiatives as far as the fertilizer industry is concerned. This has ensured one very clear thing, that as far as the industry is concerned, there is a visibility of profits for the industry. When there is a visibility of profit, you obviously are creating what I call as capital, and this capital is required for growth. So the NBS policy has been a very effective policy, and the current amendments which have come through in NBS, which allows the industry to make between 8 to 12% profit before tax on based on whether they are purely trading or they are fully integrated or they are partially integrated, I think is a very positive move from the government, and this should see more investments coming into the sector.
How much does the government regulate maximum retail prices of phosphatic fertilizers to prevent unreasonable price increases?
Ma'am, the way the NBS works is that government gives a subsidy based on a nutrient. So in your fertilizer, depending upon the content of nutrient that you have, you will get a subsidy per metric ton. However, the key point here is government does not regulate the MRP. Government's direction is very clear that if you're a pure trader, your profit before tax is going to be 8%. If you're fully integrated, your profit before tax is going to be 12% of the revenue. So in the event, based on your own pricing, based on your own viability, you're going to be making far more than that. That particular profit is to be voluntarily surrendered by the industry to the government. So there's a self-regulating mechanism which has been put in place by the government, which I think is very positive as far as the industry is concerned.
Looking ahead 5 years, how do you see the India's phosphatic fertilizer industry, and what challenges and opportunities do you expect for Paradeep Phosphates?
Well, as far as Paradeep is concerned, the both challenges and opportunity for us is to keep pace with the market. We believe that the phosphatic market today not only is import dependent, it's also going to be growing. And as it grows, and new capacities will have to come, new sourcing abilities will have to come. This for us is both an opportunity at the same time, and we believe that if we continue our focus on expanding our capacities and getting into deeper relationship with our supply chain partners like OCP and other people that we have, I'm sure this is going to be beneficial, and we will be able to show an above average growth in terms of our business.
Thank you for sharing your insights. It's exciting to see Paradeep Phosphates combining strong performance with bold growth plans. We look forward to following your journey in the months ahead.